Welcome to this video on digital forensic. On the CISSP exam, it is important to understand investigation and digital forensics is a part of the conversation. So that's what we are going to focus on this video. Now, digital forensic is pretty straightforward. It is the collection and analysis of digital evidence that really what we are trying to accomplish here. Collect and analyze digital evidence, so that's anything that's come from a computer and so on. Now this is very similar to criminal forensics from the law enforcement side of the house, from the law enforcement world. We are using those criminal investigation technique to understand what offense may have occurred on the system. It's also known as e-discovery or electronic data recovery. Data forensics, there's a lot of different terms that we used to describe this. Now, sometime interviews, statement and other evidence is going to be collected as part of that. But really what we are looking to do is collect digital evidence. So forensic can be used for investigation. We can do it for security assessment. We can even use it for regulatory and organizational compliance as well. So what we are really looking to do is determine the who, what, when, where and how of any kind of electronic violation, right? So what we are looking to do is use specialized tool and techniques to detect potential offense against the information system. And in this case, we are looking to identify the modus operandi, right? The motive, the reason, the opportunity and the method. That's what we are looking for in terms of collection of digital information. Now, the e-discovery reference model is probably the most prominent thing you are going to see on the exam. First of all, everything going to start with information governance. That's the biggest piece of the forensic process. Now, there's a lot of thing going on in this particular area here, but you don't need to really worry about that for the exam. What you need to understand is that information governance ensures that information is going to be well organized for all of your e-discovery efforts. You are going to have your policies, you are going to have your process, you are going to have everything that's going to align back to governance, regulation, and it's going to be compliant at some level. Then out of that information governance, you are going to have the identification or identity step or phase. This is where you are going to locate all of your potential source of evidence. Then you will notice two steps right after identify. There's preserve and collection. Preservation or preserve has to do with ensuring that all of the potential information that we might discover as part of the investigation is going to be protected against any kind of alteration, deletion or any other changes. This tie all the way back to data integrity, right? So we are focused on that. Then the collection phase or step has to do with gathering all of the required information that's going to be used as a part of forensic e-discovery process. Then we have process, review, analyze. So we have the process step, the review step and the analyze. Processing is we are screening as we are collecting all the information. There's going to be a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of information. We want to process this, analyze this, right, and make sure that it's going to be relevant to what we are doing. Then we are going to review that information to make sure that it's going to be relevant for the investigation. Then we will analyze this information to determine if it's going to meet the real and best evidence guidelines like we talked about in the previous video. Finally, we get to the point where we are going to produce. This is to do with the putting all of your information together in a format that can be consumable by other investigator, security manager, senior managers and certainly for courtroom. And then lastly, as a part of the e-discovery model, you are going to go into presentation where this information is going to be used in a court of law or by other investigative parties. Now along with that is going to come forensic standard. There's a lot of organization that have their own standard about forensics. NIST, the special publication 886, they have guide to the integrating forensic techniques into incident response. You have the ISO 27043, which is incident investigation principles and processes. And we also have ISO 27037, which is guidelines for identification, collection, acquisition and preservation of digital evidence. There's also the NIST SP 800-101. This is for mobile device forensics. There's the International Organization on Computer Evidence or IOCE. And there's also the Scientific Working Group on Digital Evidence or the SWGDE. Some people call it SWITCH, but nonetheless, these are all different standards for forensic investigation. So you will want to account for how you perform your forensic in your incident response plan. This is part of the incident response process normally. If you are doing forensic for assessment or audits, you don't really follow the incident response plan. You are going to follow more of your test assessment plan or something like that. But if you are using forensic part of your incident response, it needs to be clearly documented in your incident response plan. So at high level, the forensic process is really about collection, examination, analysis and reporting. And in this video, we are going to dive into e-discovery model and also the NIST model as well. Okay, so the bottom line for this video is just to understand the purpose of digital forensic and know the e-discovery reference model steps.